freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 415 of GunFreedomRadio, Radio, where we engage, we educate, and we inform. We are brought to you by azfirearmsauctions.com, where you set the price on guns, ammo, and accessories. I am one of your hosts, Cheryl Todd.
And I'm the other guy, Dan Todd. Our theme today is Train to Survive, and our guest is Mychael Waller. Mychael is the youngest African-American federal firearms license dealer in Illinois. He is the CEO and owner of his online gun store, MJ's Firearms, LLC, and Protect One Asterisk, LLC, outdoor range and training facility. After surviving two separate self-defense shootings, one while walking with his young son, Mychael has further motivation to become an advocate and trainer for gun safety and the freedom of law-abiding citizens to bear arms to protect themselves and their families. And did I mention that was in Illinois?
Welcome back to the show, Mychael.
Hey, how you guys doing? I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
It's always great.
So it's funny because like Illinois, people think, they think Chicago. They don't think Illinois. They think Chicago. And I have the privilege to go to Chicago, Illinois, twice a year, and it's a beautiful state. And there's so many people that I have met that are gun-loving people in Illinois. Not in Chicago. I'm out of Chicago, but every time I go to Illinois, I say I'm going to Chicago. And I don't know why that is, but if Chicago wasn't in the picture, Illinois would be one of the freest gun states in the union, because people love guns there.
Absolutely, yeah. Illinois, especially down south, like when you get towards Carbondale and all those, I mean, it's red. The only thing that's, blue about this state is the city. Yeah. Other than that, like when you get, it's a lot of conservative counties, in Illinois. And like you said, it's these people, they love guns here. So like gun sales, even though we just, unfortunately, we got hit with that assault weapons ban overnight, literally happened overnight. And the people, I mean, they were kind of stripped from a lot of, it was pretty sad. They'll come in and try and buy an AR-15 from me, and, just overnight they're restricted from, owning these type of guns. And then, Illinois, it's just, they're kind of backwards. They, they lifted the ban for temporarily, and then it went back on. They don't know what they're doing, but to answer your question, yeah, Illinois they definitely love their guns here. They definitely do. It's just Chicago, and Chicago's a major city, so and I find myself saying the same thing a lot of times when I go to states where they have a major city, like Las Vegas, one of them, but Florida and Texas, some of them, you got Dallas and things like that. So we just say the city, but so don't feel bad. I do the same thing. So when I say Chicago, everybody know what I'm talking about. Illinois, but
so
Illinois.
So what is the law now in Illinois? Is you can't own an AR-15 or you can't buy one? What is it?
So no, so that it was like 111 pages long. I don't think really anyone read through all of that, but it's so you can have an AR-15. You can have what they call assault style weapon. You can have those. They just have to be registered in 2024. And you can't, dealers, FFLs, we cannot sell AR-15s or any type of what they consider assault style weapon. Literally, it's 111 pages long. They put almost every single gun you can pretty much think about, like any of the AK pistols, AR pistols, Kel-Tecs, the Sub 2000, any of those guns that are like they consider tactical or assault weapons, that's pretty much on that list. There's a magazine restriction too of 10 rounds for long guns, and then for handguns 15 rounds. So we can still sell like a handgun that holds more, like let's say, for example, a full size P320, like an M17. We can sell it. We just can't give them the magazine with the gun. So they're, leaving out of a gun shop, or if someone wants to purchase a firearm from me and want to purchase an M17, they can take the weapon, but they can't have the magazine. They have to find, either magazines that are, blocked to 10 rounds or 15 rounds. And that's just kind of, where they're left.
Well, I know we have other subjects to talk about.
And I'm sure the crime rate is instantly zero. Right? That's because
it's definitely zero. There's no more crime going on there.
No more crime.
I have a prediction that as long as if the government stays the same in Chicago and Illinois area, that in 2 years that registration that you guys are going to have to go through in 24 will mean that in a couple of years they're going to say, okay, now you can't own the guns in the state, and you can either remove them or surrender them, just like California did with their 50s. That's exactly the only reason, because it's not, the criminals are still going to have the guns. It's so stupid, and there's so many people that are being infringed on their rights in Illinois right now.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's sad, man, and it just literally it happened overnight. Like no one knew. It just, it was tough, because even firearms that I've had that I sold to customers during that time, I had to reimburse them, and it was a headache. Like it was a headache dealing with all of that stuff. So,
so with all these laws and everything else to protect our citizens of Illinois, you have survived 2 separate attempts on your life by strangers. Self-defense is very real to you. What have you prepared yourself to defend yourself?
Just taking a lot of training classes. I would say I've always been a huge advocate in firearms training. But after my first shooting, literally I was just leaving KD's event, Kevin Dixie. He had train, learn, entry. It was his first event. It was my first actually training class I went to, and I just got the training bug. I fell in love with it. I shot over 5,000 rounds. I won like 2 or 3 guns there because I was just shooting and creating content and all that good jazz, and it was fun. And I just got the training bug after that, and then literally 16 hours after leaving that event, I was, the shooting in Chicago. I was walking with my 5-year-old son. You guys actually got the magazine behind you. That's cool.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and my son, we literally just leaving that event, got into that shooting in 2019 Memorial Day weekend. And after that, I just got the training bug, and that's what actually encouraged me to, buy some land and start a shooting range on there and start training students. And, so they can be efficient with a gun too, because I see the importance, in firearms training. That actually saved my life. God first, but second, it was actually firearms training. That made the difference, because he had a gun, I had a gun. I'm assuming, God looks over everyone. So we both had God, I guess looking, at both of us. But, God made a, different choice for his life. And, I believe my skill set kind of, helped me win that fight there. And God, of course.
But was that in Chicago City when that happened?
Yeah, that was right. It was literally, if anyone who is from Chicago, they know we have it's probably the largest jail. It is the largest jail here. It's on 26th in California. This shooting happened on 25th in California. So it was like in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That is so crazy. Totally unprovoked. You're just walking along with your son. And then you flash forward. What has it been, 2 years? And you found yourself in another life-threatening situation.
Yeah, less than 3 years. Before I actually talk about that, I would kind of, talk about, this training a little bit more. That's kind of that after that first shooting, that encouraged me to, seek a bunch of different training classes. So I went to tactical response. I went to, train with Kevin Dixie, Ken Scott, Wolf, big shout out to Phil. I know you guys are friends with Phil too over at Wolf. So I went pretty much everywhere. I just went training like crazy. So and then not even about 3 years later, actually it was April 30th. I was at a bar. It was a bar and grill. It's called the Ryan's Pub. It's in Frankfort, Illinois. It's right off Route 30. It was big news here in Chicago because the guys who actually went to rob that establishment used replica guns. And in Texas, there was a man who was shot using a replica gun trying to rob I believe it was a restaurant. That was big news. Pretty much
I remember
nationwide.
that.
Yeah, so it was kind of a similar story here. There was two men who came in and robbed Ryan's Pub, and they had replica firearms, and I was able to stop both of them. So
you didn't know it was a replica when you defended you. You didn't know it was a replica, did you?
No, I couldn't tell. Replica. They did. The gun had Walther on it. It said it had all the original. It was a PPQ. So you know exactly what a PPQ. You probably saw quite a bit of those, and literally, to the detail. Wow. The gun racked back, like it actually racked. You can rack the slide. It had a magazine, and it had all the same features. No orange tip or anything like that. They sell these guns on Amazon, and you can buy them, and they're actually owned by Walther and Glock and Smith & Wesson. They actually own them. So Glock makes one, and it literally looks exactly like a Glock 19. You can buy it right off Amazon for like $61.
Wow, that is so interesting. I didn't realize that. And so you're in this establishment, and just kind of walk us through the scenario, how this became a life-threatening situation that, clearly you thought they had lethal force, the bad guys, because it looked like it. So can you walk us through how that all came together?
Yeah, so it was, I got there around maybe 1:30 in the morning. I was coming from Chicago, leaving Chicago, and I was at a friend's tattoo shop, and I was like, look, it's getting late. I don't want any other, issues. Just go ahead and go home. And as I was headed back towards Moni, we have this exit called Lincoln Highway. I was like driving right by the exit, and a good friend of mine, he actually works at a local gun shop here in Illinois. His name's Alex. A lot of the guys at the shop kind of picked on him, and I kind of took a liking to him because he's a good dude. And he told me earlier that day, he was like, hey, I'm going up to the Ryan's Pub, and I'd never been there. And a lot of people talked bad about it, and they talked bad about him. So I was like, he thought a lot of me. So I was like, let me just get off. Let me see if he's actually there. And if he's there, I'll go in there and have a drink with him or something like that, or just hang out. And I got off on the exit, pulled into the Ryan's Pub, and sure enough, there was his car. He had a little Ford with all these gun stickers on the back and stuff like that. I tell him to take that stuff off, but he got all these gun stickers on the back. So I walk in, and he sees me, and literally, this is a well-known biker bar in Frankfurt. Like, you don't even see too many African Americans, come in there. It's not like it's a regulars type of bar. So, sure. I walk in, and Alex sees me, and they never seen me before there. And I'm like, I just walk in, they look at me. I'm like, what's going on? Alex is a regular. So Alex shouts my name to let everybody know it's all good. That's
okay.
Calm down, And as soon as he came up to me, we embraced each other, and we're really, really close friends now to this day. But we just was hanging out, and he offered a few drinks to me, and I denied the drinks only because I knew I was carrying. This establishment didn't have, when I walked in the door, it didn't have no guns allowed sign on there, so I wasn't, I didn't really know if it was technically legal or not. And a lot of pubs, they, depending on, it's the law here, if there's sales at the end of the year in alcohol or food, if it's 51% more food, then it's technically legal for you to carry inside that establishment, even if they do sell alcohol. But if it's 51 or more percent alcohol, you can't actually carry inside that establishment. And I knew that. And
so me as just a citizen, I've got to ask for their books. Like, show me your P&L statement so I know whether or not I can protect myself in your bar. That right there is crazy. But
exactly.
But the fact that there was no sign at the door, so now that's why the criminals came in there to rob the place.
Maybe, right?
Right. Yeah.
But sure. But what I want to say is that the fact that you knew, because of training, that if you're going to go in a place that serves alcohol, that you can't drink if you're carrying, and you followed that that law and that rule. And that's part of training right there. But I didn't mean to take it off the rails with that. But I feel like that's an important piece of the responsibility that you exhibited in this scenario.
It is. I appreciate you bringing that up. That's true. The moment, and that's more of us as responsible gun owners. We just do that, naturally. Like, we don't even really have to have a sign posted. We just, because we're responsible, we're gonna do those different type of things as gun owners, and that's just what I did. I knew at that time, look, if I'm gonna come into an establishment that does sell alcohol, even though they do food too, I'm carrying a gun, don't drink, because it's just not a good mixture. So, and that's what I encourage anyone who know about my story, hear this story. Don't, if you're drinking, put your gun up. I believe in carrying your gun everywhere, and where you legally can. And I'm not gonna tell anyone to break the law or do something that you shouldn't do. As
so you're partying and having a hamburger, and what happens?
So it's about 1:30, talking to a good friend Alex, and it's about maybe roughly 25 to 30 people inside the establishment at that time. And through closing time, there was, people started fading away naturally because closing's at 3. There was another African-American male that came in too. Nobody ever seen him before. Typically, again, if you come inside, you kind of, it's a regulars bar. So, like, you would see too many people who look like me, coming there. That was my first time being there. So when we saw him, I kind of looked at him, like, embraced him in a way, because, so he kind of felt comfortable too, and didn't say anything to anyone, didn't even really, engage with me, even when I tried. And it's kind of weird. He just looked around the bar and then went over there by the slot machine and just sat there, didn't play. And I kind of watched him, for a little bit, because he just wasn't, when he didn't really engage with me or anybody else, it was just kind of awkward, because you don't really see that too often, if you come to but I didn't pay too much mind. I just let it, just kind of go off on his own. And then he ended up leaving out shortly, about 2:30, 2:45 ish. More people started fading out. Closing time come. It's me and Alex, and there's about 4 people inside. It's about 7 people inside the establishment. The owner actually lived upstairs. His name's John. Really, really good guy. He lived upstairs and I didn't know that at the time. And there's 2 dudes on the actual porch, and then there's 4 people inside. There's 2 bartenders and me and Alex. And the 2 guys actually came in. And when they walked in the establishment, it was at that time, it was about closing time. When they walked in, they said, "Hey, can we get a drink?" They walked in, these 2 men with all black on, hoodies and, ski mask. When they walked in, we all looked at them, and it's still kind of COVID, whatever, and we looked at them. We all kind of sensed something was wrong, and I can tell just by the part of their face that was exposed and the way they're speaking that they were, African-American. And I kind of intervened, just me being only African-American there. Let me try to see if I can relate to them, because we all kind of sensed something was really, really off, because they're in pitch black clothing. I mean, hoods over their heads, ski mask over the covering their face.
Right.
It just didn't seem right. They asked for a drink. The bartender, his name's Mike, he actually said, "Hey, we called last call about 40 minutes ago. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I can't, serve you." And my friend Alex, he ordered 2 drinks for me that I never drunk, because I knew that I was carrying. I even offered my drinks to them, because they were like, it was just strange. They were looking around. It was just very awkward. I could sense something was wrong. He didn't even really respond to me when I offered my own drinks to him, and he was just continuing to look around, and he started getting a little agitated. He was like, "Man, you sure I can't get a drink? We came from a long, far away just to get a drink here." And when he said that, I kind of knew. I'm like, nobody really comes to this bar. Is not really, nobody really comes from long.
It's not a destination.
It's not a destination. You're not going to do that. So when he said that, I was like, I mean, I kind of, I just felt something. It just,
your spidey senses were tingling.
Yeah, it just didn't seem right. And shortly after that, he gets frustrated. He's like, "Man," he starts kind of cursing a little bit, and he took his hand out of his pocket, and when I saw his hand, he had on latex gloves.
Oh boy.
When I saw the latex gloves, I was like, okay.
Here we go.
I looked at, and my buddy Alex, he's a gun, he's in the gun industry. We're both kind of like, gun guys, and we looked at each other, and I gave him that nod, like, hey man, are you carrying? And he's like, and I then took my gun out. I had a MEP shield. It was a single stack. It was a backup gun. I normally carry a full size, but I had where I had my subcompact MEP shield 8+1, and I had a spare magazine in my pocket and a light. And I took my gun out. I had it like a low ready underneath the bar. So, for example, it's just the bar is like a big U. So I'm on the other side of the bar there by the door. And I had my gun out, and the guys, they were looking around again. They were like, hey, well, can we at least use the bathroom? And Mike, the bartender, and the female bartender didn't respond to him because they just know something's wrong.
Right.
And I just kind of just jumped in there, and I was like, yeah, you guys can use the bathroom. Go ahead, trying to like de-escalate the situation, not so it doesn't go, any further. And maybe I'm thinking maybe they're just, go to the bathroom and, just leave out. They think that it's not really worth it. And as he comes around the bar, the bathroom's directly behind me. So I put my gun back up because I didn't want him to come around the bar and see me just holding a gun in my hand, because then he's going to really, be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it may make him, pull his gun out sooner, try to shoot us, or it may just scare him away. Right. I didn't know. I didn't want him to feel like that. I wanted to kind of keep everything calm. So he comes around the bar, and as he comes all the way around the bar on the right side of me, he pulls out a gun right after I holstered my gun. And the other guy pulls out a gun, and they come across the bar. He goes to the cash register. They have guns drawn on everybody there. There's the female bartender. She's kind of like, crying and, asking them like not to shoot her and things like that. And where they're going through all of our, pockets, patting us down. And I carry appendix carry. And when he's patting me down, he's normally, typically he's doing a pretty crappy job, because he's just like, patting my pockets down and my side, because typically people carry their gun on their side. He's, looking, patting me down there, and then checks my pockets, and he doesn't, find my gun. That's actually appendix carry. And by the grace of God, because it would have been a fight, right then and there with guns, with him having a gun out already. But he didn't, by the grace of God. And then his buddy's going through the registers. He's taking all the money out of there. It's all video recorded. You can hear them. They're threatening us. They're telling us, look, you guys keep calm. Don't say anything, trying to keep us, from not being so loud. He has guns pointed at everyone, and he's threatening everybody. He's like, if y'all, you say something, you guys be loud, I'm going to kill everybody in here.
Wow. And
he has his gun pointed at us, and he's just being really aggressive towards everybody. And then shortly, there was two guys actually on the deck out there. He kind of leans back to make sure they weren't really seeing what was going on, and because he was forcing everybody to keep calm. He then tells Mike, the bartender, go in the back and go get more money, because he's frustrated that he's not getting as much money as he wants, because I guess there just wasn't a lot of cash in the register. It's how it happens. So he's like, go in the back, go get more money, or I'm gonna kill everybody in here. And that's what he's saying. He's constantly saying. And Mike's like, look, there's no more money. We did a drop off already. There isn't any more money inside this, establishment. We already, dropped the money off at the bank. And at that point, he gets agitated. He's like, look, you know what? Everybody get face first on the ground.
Oh gosh.
You guys are, y'all are playing with me. He's cursing at this time. The lady then starts to scream. She was like, please don't kill me. I have children. I have kids, and growing up with 6 sisters, I'll just, that triggered a whole nother part of me right there. Yep. And at this time, I had both of these guys I'm just two targets at this point. A guy at the register, a guy like almost like, a few feet in front of me. I'm like, if I get my gun out, I can get shots on him, but this guy here is going to turn with his gun, and he can potentially shoot, all of us, or at least he's going to get a shot on them. I feel like I can beat them, but it's going to be hard trying to shoot these targets that are kind of like in two different locations when I have good people right in front, and I just with firearms training, I had to think, and I had to wait for the right opportunity to, make that move, and those are things you learn, and I learned through, training classes, and, just happen to, this training, it puts me in a proper mindset, and having, and skill set. You got to have that, you know. That's why I'm a
Right.
huge advocate for firearms training. But that time when he says, "Hey, everybody get face first on the ground," everybody starts to get down. The lady's screaming. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. So she starts to scream, and I think we all then go down. And as I'm going down, I'm thinking, you know, to myself, like, look, you know, they're gonna just shoot us right here, Mike. You got at some point, you got to make a move like now, like, or you know, they're just gonna just start shooting people in here. We had a shooting like that happened. That was nation. Pretty much, it was world. It was news all over the country. It was on CNN and all that good stuff. It was at the Lane Bryant here. I think it was in Tinley Park, and it was 9 women killed inside of a Lane Bryant store, and it was kind of similar. So when he said, "Hey," he told everybody to get face first on the ground. That is exactly what that guy did to those women. He killed all of them. So when he said everybody get face first on the ground, you know, that's what I thought. So I just went for my gun as everybody was getting on the ground. I started taking my gun out the holster, and both of the guys were actually close at this point. And I thought to myself, well, if we're all on the ground, Mike, if you can raise up and you can get your gun out and they're close, you know, if they're close by each other, you can get shots on them. I can beat them. So as I take my gun out, I get down. I then look to the right, because he's telling everybody to get face first on the ground. I look to the right with my gun out, and he's not there. Both of the guys are not there. So I lift up with my gun, and they're both by the door. And one of the guys turned towards me. He points. He has the gun still out. He's like, "I told you get on the ground." And that's when I raised up and I just shot him. And I fired all 9 rounds. I hit him several times, and I hit his other friend once, and he fell down the stairs and dropped his gun and was able to get away in the getaway car. They had a getaway driver out there sitting, and he was able to kind of stumble away, get in the car, and they sped off. And as soon as those rounds went off, I literally darted to that back door. Those 2 guys were on the porch back there, and I told them, "Look, it was a shooting." They came to me like, "What is going on?" Because they heard all the gunfire. Like I said, I just yelled, "Call 911." My friend Alex runs towards the front door where I just shot this other guy. And I darted back in. I dropped my magazine, grabbed another magazine from my pocket, inserted, and I tapped and racked the slide and went out running after Alex, because I'm like, look, you know, we don't know if the scene's safe out there. You're just running out there. And he's just a fighter too at heart, and he just wants to, you know, get these guys, and all he has is a knife. And I just run out there and I kind of scan, you know, the area, just to make sure there wasn't any more threats. And then we see the getaway car, you know, speeding down Route 30 going, I believe it was south they're going to get on the expressway. So as we run outside, I scan, and I saw there was a gun down the stair, literally like 8 feet from where his friend was laying. I saw that there was a gun. So I run outside, and I'm just scanning. I grab the gun. As I pick the gun up, that's when I realized, like, this isn't a real gun. This is a toy. Like, this is not a real gun. So I dropped the gun back down there. I pulled a slide back, you know, I'm like, yeah, this isn't a real gun. I dropped the gun down. I run back up to the guy. We're trying to render aid. Me and my buddy Alex, he's got he's checking for his pulse, and it's like extremely low. You know, he has about 6 shots in his chest, and he has a round to his head. So, you know, his eyes are, you know, pretty much open. He's gone at this point. He was dead, you know. I guess a good friend of mine, he told me, you know, when I was trying to explain, like, you know, why do we feel like a pulse? He was just like, that's just blood, just, you know, kind of like just leaking out. But he's gone already, and he was gone. That's what you know. Even the paramedics and first responders told me that when I asked them, you know, about what actually happened, were we doing the right thing, trying to render aid to him, and would it actually change anything? And they were like, nah, he was gone. So I'm giving him chest compressions. My friend Alex is like kind of pushing me off. He's like, Mike, you know, I got it from here, man. You know, just you're okay. Just calm yourself down, because it's a lot going on. I'm kind of like, you know, shaking at this point. I then go back and I'm like, I'm checking on, I believe her name was Julian. I run back inside the establishment. I'm like, you know, I run over to her. I'm like, you know, how are you doing? You know, she can't even speak. She's just,
of course.
she was just out of it, you know. We were on the phone with first responders, 911, Frankfort PD. They actually came. They arrived on the scene like in minutes, and Will County was shortly after them. When we got on the phone with first responders, I then go back into the bar, and I dropped my my magazine, and I took the other magazine off the ground that I had there, and I put it all on the bar. I cleared my gun. I took the rounds, and I separated all of them. I put all my belongings, which was already on the bar, sitting up there, and I kind of separated and made the gun safe. And then I ran back out towards the front door where the guy was actually laying there, and he was dead at that moment. And for Will County and Frankfort, PD, they arrived, and then I'm actually talking to them. My friend Alex is coming over to me, and he's like, "Look, this is what's going on." And I'm telling him, like, "Yeah, I am the one who shot him." I felt in fear for my life and others, and the police handled it great. A huge shout out to Will County. Will County, they did a great job. Frankfort Police Department did a great job too as well. No issues there. They never even handcuffed me. They actually were, because they so many eyewitnesses. They all came out there. It was like, look, this man did the right thing.
Right.
He saved us. These guys were robbing this place, and they can see what's going on. The police, so they see a ski mask guy laying there.
Oh yeah.
They're like, yeah, let's just, they immediately they did take me in the back of the car. They never handcuffed me. He just kindly walked me over there, set me back there. Got the paramedics there, checking my heart rate, make sure I was okay, and everything. And we left shortly after. We went down to Will County Sheriff's Department, which was about maybe like 10, 15 minutes down the road. And they interviewed all 6 of us. Mm-hmm. And they, ran the cameras back, and, they were like, I was sitting in there with the 2 detectives, and I was concerned because I was like, look, I'm probably going to get charged with carrying a gun inside of a bar. Excuse me. But, the Will County was like, look, we just saw the video. I didn't know there was cameras. We just saw the whole video of what happened, and we just talked to those other witnesses, and they talked to me last. And they were like, dude, look, if you did not have your gun in that bar, you guys probably would have died. And I was like, well, they didn't have real guns. They look like replicas. He's like, yeah, but they, when they went through all you guys' belongings, there was actually a gun there. That woman, Julian, she had a gun in her purse, and they took it. So they did gain access to a gun. So, and then, you had a gun on you. They could have took your gun and shot you guys. Moral of the story, they were just like, look, if you weren't there, something bad could have really happened. And they said immediately after you shooting those guys, you cleared, they were really big on this. They were like, you cleared your gun, you put it on the bar, you made it safe. And for us as police officers, that was really, really big for us to see. So they were like, we knew you had some type of training, because for you to do those different type of things, and we saw how you went back and cared for that lady. We could hear those different type of things. We ran your background. We know you don't have no criminal history. When this guy laying here on the ground dead, he has an ankle bracelet on for robbery.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
So like, they're like, this just seems like, if the only thing they're like, we're going to charge you, if we were going to charge you, it would be, carrying a gun inside the bar. And if you didn't have that gun inside the bar, you guys probably wouldn't be alive. So he was like, we're, Frankfort PD, Will County PD, they were like, Frankfort said they don't want to press charges. The police were like, they feel like you did a great job. I've talked to witnesses and watching the video. Will County said the same thing. And the last person I had to wait on, which obviously was the state of Illinois, was the DA, district attorney. I had to wait for the state to tell me that they don't want to press charges, because police, they can say we don't want to press charges.
Right.
But they're just an agency, they're like, we can say no, but the state can pick it up. And they were like, look, I sat there for about 5 hours, and about almost 11 o'clock came, my attorney arrived there too as well, and he was talking to him. And a huge shout out to USCCA. They originally, right after that shooting, I made that phone call. I had my card. I made that phone call, to the back. There was a number on the back of the card. I called that number. The critical response team, they picked up the phone. They were talking to my mother, and who was on like a three-way. And I called my good friend Mike Bauer. I love him. He's like a brother. I was talking to him. He knew what was going on. He got USCCA immediately over there. They got one of the best attorney that they can find here in the state of Illinois, Dave McDermott. Huge shout out to Dave McDermott Law Group. He's a good friend of mine too now, and he came and helped me out. And we waited on the state to give me the thumbs up or thumbs down, and the state were like, you're free to go. You feel like you did the right
praise
thing.
God, that is
No
amazing.
charges. And I left about maybe 10:45, and my friend Alex and all of them, they left about roughly the same time I did. So we all got back, home about 11 o'clock, and that was it.
Well, praise God. All of that came together the way that it did. All it takes is some political person in that line of, organizations that could charge you, right?
Mm-hmm.
To try to make some political, statement out of charging you with something. And again, I do think God is watching over you. We are running a little over time, but I can't let you go without asking. These are two very traumatic incidences that both you and your son have unfortunately experienced. Thank God you came out unphysically harmed. But how are you both doing?
I mean, great now. I mean, it was tough. I mean, killing people is it's never it's tough on anyone. It's not it's something I think about every day. But the reason why I did it was that's what kind of helps me live with it.
Yeah,
I can
saving others.
when I talk to all those people, they like Mike, if you weren't here, we wouldn't be here, bro. So
right, it could be that Lane Bryant thing all over again. But what about your son? How's he doing?
Great. My son MJ, he's good. He's doing really well in school. He's now he's about to be 10 on the 28th of this month. So excited about that. I got a birthday coming up. My son, he helps me too. Whenever like I get to thinking about that first shooting, and that was a lot. I look at him and be like, we good. My family and the people next to me, like my friend Alex and all of them, I go to that bar often. The owner, John, he loves me. Like that's he lost his son early on at an early age, and he kind of looks at me like that now. We became really, really close, and I drink for free for the rest of my life. So
on the nights you leave your gun at home, which are probably never.
Which is probably never. So it's funny you said that, because like they tell me that, and I tell John, like, John, you look, I'm not an alcoholic, man, because like you'll be out of a lot of money. And the bartenders, they're like, Michael, your regular drink is a lemonade. Like, because I'm not a big drinker, so like my regular is a lemonade. So they joke, they like, he always gets lemonade. He always gets lemonade. My regular is a lemonade.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I know that there's so many layers of it to inspire people, and to see that, you're not walking around like some Rambo looking for trouble. You're just a dad. You're just a business owner. And you are just trained for what you hope is never going to happen. And then somehow it's happened in your life twice. And for people that say, oh, well, when these things happen, just call 911 and wait for the police. In neither one of these instances did you have that opportunity. And so I think that's a powerful message for people as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You are your own first responder. So
absolutely. We are. All of us are. So I mean, I know you guys are gun owners, you guys carry, and we are our own first responders, and we got to do what's right, and we it just need to be done. In today's time, it's unfortunate we live in this world where we got to think like this and move like this, but we got to do it.
Absolutely. And all the people whose children they're still around for, right, and their lives get to go on. they have to be just so grateful and thankful. And thank you for just sharing all that with us. Tell folks how they can find out more about your training facility and your MJ's Firearms, which MJ, as you said, is that adorable little boy on that magazine right there. Your son.
Yeah, my son, Mychael Waller Jr. So Instagram is MJ's Firearms 33, and then Protect One is Protect1.elite on Instagram too as well. And then I have MJ's Firearms LLC on Facebook and MJ'sFirearms.com. So you guys can follow me all on those social media. I also have TikTok too, so it's MJ's Firearms 33 as well. So you guys can, you guys want to hear more about my story, you can go on USCCA website as well and just type in my name. It'll be up there. And the new article will be coming out soon too with USCCA regarding this recent shooting. So you guys can get the news and get the information on that too as well by signing up with USCCA. So yeah.
Absolutely. And it's Mychael with a Y, Mychael WA.
Yes, last name Waller, WALLER. So thank you.
Fantastic. All right, Mychael, I can't wait till we have a chance to be in the same place at the same time again so I can give you a big old hug.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. You look great too, by the way. I love your dress.
Thank you. It's the polka dot thing, right?
Yeah.
I was going to wear the same one, but we would have clashed.
Yeah, he wears it better than I do, but I decided to wear it.
We can't joke about that anymore, can we?
Maybe not.
Unless I have a Bud Light in my hand or something.
Stop it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. God bless.
You too.
Thanks, Mychael. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
You know, it's a shame, but yet, they have to go through that. Thank God that Mychael had the training, but this guy that he shot had an ankle bracelet on.
Yeah.
There was no reason for that. And so let's just say, okay, they were fake guns, right?
Waste of this person's life. I mean, he ended up with no money. He had a toy gun and he lost his life.
But
the whole thing is just so sad.
I just want to go over that. So he had an ankle bracelet on, then he attempts a robbery with the fake guns. If he'd have got away with that, and he would have taken that lady's purse that had a gun in it. Now he's got a real gun, or he could, buy one illegally.
Right.
And now he's got a real gun. So it's a matter of time before he would have.
Right.
And I mean, of course, we can't predict that, but the sequence is there.
Right. And so whoever it is, the man that died or the one that was shot and got away, this is how bad guys get their guns.
Yeah.
Right. They steal them.
Right.
And so all the laws that were broken by these people, none of those laws stopped them. What did stop them? A good guy with a gun with training.
Now, if the bar would have put the sign out the front that said no guns allowed,
right, then they
would not have robbed that place,
sure.
At least in California or Chicago.
No doubt, right?
So, I think the only one that benefits from signs in the door that say no firearms are the sign makers.
Well, and
the sign makers
and the bad guys.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because if there had been a sign there, Mychael wouldn't have carried his gun in because he's a law-abiding, responsibly armed citizen. And then what happens?
Right.
The bad guys come in, they get access to, lethal force. The whole thing is just crazy. Yeah. And I had not heard about the Lane Bryant store, so now I got to look that up.
I do too.
My goodness. All right. Thank you, Mychael. You are awesome. I'm just so blessed to know you. We are blessed to know you. And thank you to our amazing listeners all over the world, wherever there's internet service. We have people who are interested in these conversations. Sure. And we value that because then you take these conversations into your sphere of influence and that's where these stories live on and really have their impact.
Right. And I want to comment that if the robbers would have been successful and shot everybody in the bar, you'd have heard about that on the news. But what did you hear about this one?
Yeah.
Maybe there might have been a
USCCA magazine.
Yes, there may be
one right behind us here.
Right.
All right. And if you want to watch this video over again,
how do we do that?
Go to YouTube or GunStreamer. Be sure you hit the notify and the subscribe button because that tells those platforms that you value this. If you want to listen to the audio only version, go to GunFreedomRadio.com, click the on demand tab, and
binge listen to your heart's content, darling.
absolutely. If you want to see photos and bios and links to all of our guests, hit the guest tab. Until next time, pray for this crazy world we're in.
Yep.
Pray for this nation. Pray for people who are in leadership positions.
All of them.
Even the ones you don't like, Dan.
All of them. What?
Maybe especially the ones you don't
Read
like.
my lips.
All of them. All right. Until next time, be good to each other. Have a great week.